Let me first introduce the speakers and moderator for the session on the IT and electronic industry. Let me introduce the panelist and moderator of the special session. Take a look at the video on the screen.
Thank you all. Thanks for coming. So a couple of housekeeping matters. In addition to Mr. Choi and Mr. Lee, Steve Wozniak has agreed to speak for about 10 minutes as well. So although your program says that he's not going to speak, he's going to speak following me, and then Mr. Choi will speak, and then Mr. Lee will speak. And then after that, we'll spend about 90 minutes talking about the future of IT. So what that means, if you're talking about the future of IT, is that it means you're talking about mobile, and if you're talking about mobile, it means you're talking about the iPhone. Either you have an iPhone or you don't have an iPhone, and either you're selling an iPhone or you're thinking about whether or not you should sell an iPhone. It's changed, whether or not you like it or not. The iPhone and the iPad are turning IT on its head. They're not just new gadgets, they're new ways of consuming information and entertainment. I think their appearance is as important an inflection point as the appearance of the PC 30 years ago. This isn't really an exaggeration. Apple's iPhone division will probably generate $20 billion in revenues this year. It'll probably do that with roughly 60% profit margins. It's already sold about 2 million iPhone 4s in about a month, more than 3 million iPads in about 3 months, and here in Korea, about 1 million iPhones since KT began carrying them last fall. It's changed the way carriers and manufacturers relate to each other. It's changing the way everybody thinks about pricing, and it's spawned competition everywhere, notably Google's Android. And the stakes are huge. This is all the makings of a platform war. And we all know from the PC days that once you establish the network effects of new technology, it's hard to break those. These are winner-take-all markets, and everybody who's playing in them knows it. This is not only an important conversation this is not only an important conversion to understand, but it's important to understand what will happen for the next decade. For 30 years, we've wondered when the devices in our office and our living room the PC and the television were going to converge. And it never really happened. A lot of business deals have been made based on that, and I think everybody has been disappointed. But with these new devices, we are just as willing to watch a movie, leaning back, as they say, as we are to send email, that is leaning forward. And that's really a big deal. We've been talking about the power of convergence for about 30 years, and now it's upon us. And I don't think the world is going to be the same. So we have the perfect panel to do that, to have a conversation about that. As you saw from the opening videos, we have Steve Wozniak, who co-founded Apple Computer and is now the chief scientist at Fusion.io, which is revolutionizing the way storage is done in the enterprise. We have the two technology heads of the big wireless companies here in Korea. Mr. Doo-Won Cho, who's the chief technology and president of the corporate technology group for Korea Telecom, and Mr. Myung-Sung Lee, who's the chief technology officer and the UCity business, the head of UCity business at SK Telecom. And so with that, I want to introduce Steve Wozniak and have him come up and talk about some of the things that are on his mind. Nice to see you.
Hi, Fred. Okay. It's great to be on a panel with the heads of wireless companies. I've worked for a few companies developing cell phones in the United States, and very often the carrier was king. Whatever the carrier made all the decisions, the product name, the colors, the features, etc. So it's very interesting. I have always had one of these loves of technology, new products, new things. Somebody thought of doing something different. I mean, even if it's in a movie or a song and it's different, it catches my attention. I give it credit. So, of course, you know, I grew up developing skills in technology for reasons that I had read the right books, I accidentally stumbled into the right information, and I came with a love of computers in my heart. I knew that someday I wanted to own my own computer, that I could type programs in and solve problems and the like, and I would be happy for life if I ever had my own computer. Of course, it was a very difficult dream because computers cost as much as a house. And I told my father, I'll live in an apartment, but I'm going to have a computer. One day, I saw the first arcade game that became popular, Pong, in a bowling alley. And I looked at it, and I was mesmerized. Somebody had actually used a television for a game. What games were normally pinball. I thought that was possible? You know, it stunned me. And as I looked at it, I had to have one. And I thought, wait a minute, I know how to design all electronic equipment, and I have a television at home. And back in those days, you'd unscrew the television, take it apart, run a wire inside, and hook it up. But I knew how to do these things. I knew television signals, so I designed my own Pong game. And it came from a personal desire. I just wanted my own. I showed it to Steve Jobs. And Steve Jobs ran down to Atari. He was always talking about companies of the world and the people that were important and wanting to get to know people, and he was kind of a counterculture hippie. He ran down to Atari, who made Pong. And they were in my hometown of Los Gatos, California, and they hired him. They were impressed by him. He was so enthusiastic and so much passion. He had a lot of ideas. He wasn't really an engineer, but they put him on the night shift. And then he got me a job. I got to design a game called Breakout for Atari. And I loved these things. I loved being able to sit down and design things on paper, build them, and make them work. Some people are very theoretical scientists. I'm a very practical one. I like devices that actually work. The U.S. military decided to try networking faraway university computers. And they funded a device called the ARPANET that connected several cities in the United States. The ARPANET was the forerunner of today's internet. I saw someone using the ARPANET to talk to a computer all the way across the country. And what popped into my head was, oh my God, I want one of these. How do I get one? Well, I couldn't really afford a big teletype that costs as much as a car, but I said, wait a minute, it's just like my video games. I'll use my television set to display the words, and I'll type on a keyboard over to the computer in Boston, and it'll talk back to my TV. So it came from a very personal desire to want to have something cool and neat, not something that I could sell, not something I could make money off of. So a lot of the great technology really comes from people who want to do something important in the world. I even view Steve Jobs this way, that he really didn't want to do Apple for money. He felt that his thing in the world was creating great computers. And the only way you could really prove it is you do it for people. The values at Apple have been rather consistent since our first days. I believe very strongly in putting a lot of thought into using some devices efficiently, sometimes using a chip for a different purpose than it was designed for, but seeing that it would do the job better. I would design the architecture of a computer based on knowing which parts were available to build it out of. It was the cross-discipline that made the computers very good. Then we came in, a fellow met Steve Jobs and I named Jeff Raskin, and he brought the idea of computers being humanized, computers being easy to use. He said you can build two computers out of the same sorts of parts. They can both do the same amount of work. One computer can be used by computer scientists who know how to throw all the switches and type weird commands. The other computer, you put a lot of your own work and energy into making it easy to use. You've put a lot of work into it, but it sort of works naturally. You need a very smaller manual. And that was good, because when we started the computer revolution, we wanted to make the small, low little guy who didn't have much in the world, not much money, not an executive, not a CEO, but he knew how to program a computer or build one. We wanted to make that person important and a master. Actually, we wanted to make everybody who ever owned computers someday a master of solving their own problems, getting their own work done. And you should be the master of the computer, the technology. If the technology forces you to change your ways and figure out how to use it, then you're modifying yourself to adapt to the technology. It means the technology is more important than the person. We don't want to think that way. The person is more important. The people who build technology should build it in a way that it's easy to use. Jeff Raskin told Steve Jobs and I this, and really Apple from its early days got an image, a status, a label of being easy to use computers. And that has stuck with you forever. It makes us try to make products easier to use. As computers evolved over the years, they had more and more programs, more sophisticated programs, more functions in programs, more things you could do. Computers became the most incredibly, immense devices we could ever imagine in our life. But you know what? It's funny, because you always wanted to build the next generation of a computer. The next thing had to have more functionality. And you would compare yourself to other computers. Who has the most speed, the most programs? And then, all of a sudden, almost by accidental discoveries with Apple, going through the simple iPod. Steve Jobs is very good at telling people, no, that's not good. No, that's not excellent. It's great, but it's not excellent. It's not the standard we want in Apple. He's very good at saying no. And we come up with a product that has a simpler design, simple features. It's easier, it's more on the human level. The iPod and the iPhone, and all of a sudden, we discovered that there were a lot of people that want a simpler computer, like the iPad, want something that doesn't, it just, you walk up to a lot of computers and you're intimidated. You feel like, oh gosh, I don't know how to use this, I'll barely touch it. And the iPad and a phone, a smartphone, removes that fear because it's got to be so easy, it's so small. And we build less in. We even put in roadblocks that you can't always do as much. That's one of the things that happens a lot in the computer industry. Long ago when I was growing up, the automobile industry had a reputation for planned obsolescence. They would build cars but not put extra money in to make the cars last an extra 5 years. They would last a certain amount of time, but generally not be usable after that. And it was planned obsolescence. It would cost too much. People wouldn't buy the car if it was built out of stronger metal. With computers, it seems that we went beyond that to an era of forced obsolescence. We can come out with a new computer platform with new connectors, and now you have to buy new printers, you have to buy new software, you have to buy new operating systems. So we can almost force you to move along to keep up with the developing world. And it's sort of a shame. And also, sometimes with computers, you feel blocked off. The company who made it, when I grew up, computers were open. If you had a computer, any program you could write would run. Any piece of hardware you built to attach to it, you could. Nowadays, they're so closed, you can't really tap into the middle of the chips that are in there. It's very difficult to modify what it does. It's even difficult to modify the software. You're not allowed sometimes to write your own software. Countries like China restrict which websites you're allowed to go to. They censor the idea of the free internet. We're up against a lot of that. Apple declines some apps from running on the iPhone. It falls into that category. Apple doesn't let you run your own apps unless they are sold in the Apple Store. Of course, Apple has a right to say we don't want certain things in our store, but it also restricts it from being a full computer for the computer people, like in the old days. However, the real principle is it's a useful device for people. When we started Apple, I was the technologist and the engineer, and Steve Jobs wasn't, but he saw that we've got to build the computer for the other people, the normal people. And what matters, they don't care what's the microprocessor, how many megahertz is it running, how many pins does it have, what kind of bus structure, what weird acronyms that are engineering acronyms. All they care is they want to get a job done, like maybe calculate their mortgage payment or just see a news site. They just want to do simple things. You shouldn't have to go through a lot of steps and have a lot of other information that means something to a technologist if you're not a technologist. And I hope we get to discuss more in the panel, about some of the things that really make products good for humans, but I've spoken enough, so let's move on to our next speaker. And I don't know who's next, but one of the other panelists can step up and fill in. We're supposed to talk a little here first. Nice talking to you.
Okay, this is Duan Choi from KT. I'm in charge of the technology in KT. Today's theme is IT beyond smartphone and Google. Okay, so I'm going to give you some of my perspective on this theme. I don't know how to change this. Which button do I need to? Nope. Oh yeah, here. Mouse click. 오늘 클릭해? 오케이.
계속 클릭.
아니 그 앞에
왼쪽 거를 보시.
왼쪽 걸 하면 돼요?
예.
Okay. As most of everybody here knows, Korea's current success is largely based on being a fast follower. But, as you may expect, there is not that much room for further progress if you stay as a fast follower. For the further progress, Korea from now on has to be a first mover. To be a first mover, innovation is, as you know, the key word. Usually, as you know, innovation comes from the new entrants. However, in these days, unexpectedly and unusually high level of innovation comes from the incumbent. Let's see the case analysis from the Morgan Stanley here. This is data from Morgan Stanley. As you see, Apple, Google, Amazon, Tencent, Nintendo, PayPal, Netflix, Salesforce.com, all incumbent, but they are come up with lots of new innovations. So what it says is, it tells me that just innovation is not good enough to be a first mover. So instead of being a follower of Apple and Google, in order to be a first mover independently from Apple and Google, Korea should get out of the game and playground set out by Apple and Google. We have to play a different game at a different playground. So in order to prepare a new playground, we have to understand what's coming next. So first, where is social behavior heading to? As everybody knows here, smartphone, SNS, and Twitters changes a lot of our social behaviors. Second, what convenience do people want? Some people want very much instantly. Some people don't. Okay? So why and what people want and people doesn't want, we have to pay attention to. And the third thing is, how can technology meet the demand? Okay? That's not easy, okay? But not just how meet the demand, but how easily for the user is also the keyword. Okay? So it reminds me the Palo Alto Research Center's question on innovation. Whenever they do innovation, they ask this question the first. What do people want to be able to do? And I'm going to add just one more word there. Effortlessly, easily. So based on these considerations, I'd like to change the playground, the game, and the rule we are playing. So as a telco strategist, I'm going to give you some of my perspective here. As a KT CTO, I'm thinking about the plan to move out of being a hard telco and moving into being a soft telco. As an example, telco has been mainly in the business of interconnectivity, as you see in the diagram. KT is now moving into the area of providing not just the interconnectivity, but also computing power and the related services to its user. Eventually, what KT wanted to do is to provide the knowledge services to its customers. And as we all recognize, IT is mimicking the real world social behaviors, activities, and the environment. The better it mimics the real world, the more useful IT is, and the happier the user will be, as Steve mentioned this morning in his talk. Knowledge service, what I mean is not just a IT services, it is a convergence of the physical and logical IT services. Okay? And let me tell you about a little bit about what I mean by knowledge services here. My definition of knowledge services here, somebody say it's a content-aware knowledge services, is okay with the iPhones, okay, with the sensors, okay, ubiquitous sensors and cloud-based computing and better use interaction and the context-aware technology can infer your intention and my intention in advance and proactively deliver information and services to enrich the way we live, the way we play, the way we work. So in a simple term, it's my terminology, enriching our daily life is my definition of knowledge services. So based on these ideas, okay, or whatever you have better ideas, with better anticipate the future coming next, and that set a playground for the future, and set the game and game rule differently and independently from the Google and Apple, in order to go beyond Google and Apple. That's my theme I want to deliver today. Thank you.
Today, we were discussing about the IT in general, and we have people from Apple, who was in Apple, and from KT. I've been with SK Telecom for 10 years, and as far as I remember, Korea has been the leader in IT services, and we used to call ourselves strong IT leader. But somehow, nowadays, wherever we go, we talk about Apple and Google. So today, I guess, people talk about Apple and Google. What happened? So what Korea need to do and what SKT can do for the future? That will be my talk. The title will be Korea's New Opportunity in ICT and SKT's Approach. That's a more traditional way of presentation. Let's see the Korean ICT industry. As we know very well, that we are pretty strong in manufacturing on the center side, which shows on the middle. On the left side, let's see, I'll point with this pointer. Telecommunication service is pretty big, but the growth is slowed down. The problem with us has been, everybody has been saying that it's software. As you see this on the picture, on the diagram, the software is pretty small, and even it's decreasing. IT services, SI services, as has been dominated by big companies, is steadily increasing, but the thing that we really want to do, the application software and package software, is very small and decreasing. And that has been the case for the last 10 years. We've been talking about we are the leader, but this has been happening in Korea for the past 10 years. 다음 페이지. 다음 페이지를 못 누르는 거야? 이 왼쪽 거? 왼쪽 거. Okay. Let's see where we are. On the left side, we all know that we are pretty good at infrastructure, and we have very broadband to every home and to every business, and we have wireless to everybody in Korea. Even on the underground, everywhere, we have broadband access. This left side shows that we have advanced ICT infra. On the left side, the picture shows on the horizontal side, on this horizontal axis is a GNP, basically GNP. So the rich countries tend to have more IT infrastructure. And this line shows on the average, as countries get richer and richer, they get more and more IT infrastructure. But Korea, as it shows, it has more IT infrastructure than its richness. So we have more IT infrastructure than our GNP, normal compared to other countries. So we really are strong in IT infrastructures. But the problem is on the right side. Problem is on the right side. The low use of IT infrastructure for productivity. This is done by, OECD and IBM and London Business School. And they studied how the IT has been used on various cases. And this shows on the top, we are number one. We are number one in IT infrastructure. For the consumer IT infrastructure, we are number one. But as it shows, consumer usage and skills, we thought we are number one, but somehow they say USA is number one. We are lagging far behind from USA. Even for consumer usage, we have good infrastructure, but the OECD economist and London Business School is telling us that we are not using them very well. On business side, we are far lagging. We are far lagging in business infrastructure. We thought we have the best infrastructure in the world, but it shows we are pretty low in business infrastructure and the use. In the government side, it's not as much we are behind as on the business case, but we are still behind. So what we have been telling us is that we have best infrastructure in the world, but we are telling other people that we are the IT leader, but actually we have been the leader in infrastructure, not in how to use them, particularly in businesses. I think that's very different from what you thought. So we think at SK Telecom, the new direction for Korean's ICT industry is that let's use this infrastructure for productivity and creation of values in all diverse areas. We have been concentrating on connecting and broadband. How much bandwidth we have? We are having 100 megabits per second for every home. Mr. Walls said he has less than 1.5 megabits per second at his home. In Korea, almost everybody now has 100 megabits per second. So we have connectivity and broadband. And with that connectivity and broadband, we have been using that for content delivery. We are using them to watch videos, watch TVs, and what else. So they are telling us, like economists, OECD and London Business School telling us we are not using them very well. So the future direction should be how to use this infrastructure for the productivity of the businesses and creation of values. So our direction, we believe, should be less emphasis on the left side and more emphasis on this side. By doing that, we believe ICT has been the main growth engine for Korean industry. And at this time, we are rather stagnating, but with this ICT, with the business will be more prosperous, will be more effective, more efficient, and that will create more jobs, and the country will economically and more competitive. So I believe the ICT will continue to be, again, play as the economic growth engine of this country by doing more concentrating on the right side and less on the left side. So the new direction for ICT innovation is that how to use ICT infrastructure more effectively. This shows level of ICT infrastructure, which means bandwidth, speed, quality of service kind of thing. We will increase it. We will be the leader in the world. We have been number one, and we will be the number one in the future too. We can promise that. But also, on the right side, we need to increase the use of IT infrastructure not only for the content delivery and for the play and fun kind of thing, to more in all diverse industries, businesses, productivity, and value creation. If you look at on the right side picture, this shows, this is the market size, and this is services and application. In many other areas, like Web 2.0 has said, it's a long tail. There are big market for the small segment, and as it tails down, there are long tail, and there are many applications that we can develop. We have been concentrating more on this side, like the telco has been the leader creating these big services, and telco has been monopolizing these services. But now, there will be, for the infrastructure can be used for diverse application, diverse businesses, and there will be more specific and more fragmented market, but there will be, when they collect it together, there will be big market again, and we need to have a mechanism of developing for this application. How we can do this, telco has been pretty good at a mass scale, big market application services, but for these small markets and for diverse industries, it needs different skills and different expertise and different domain knowledge. So how we can help promote in Korea these kind of application? That's our job. For that, SK Telecom has been promoting industry productivity enhancement. We'll use our infrastructure to increase the productivity of all industries. As has been said here, automotive, healthcare, education, shopping, finance, etc., etc. All these, with ICT infrastructure, can be more productive, and they can create more values, and there will be many applications for software development. And what we mean by IT infrastructure, we mean the sensors and recognitions. Current IT infrastructure is mainly the wireline and mobile network, but I think that will be extended as you are seeing that from the Wi-Fi and small RFIDs and sensors. So we'll have sensors and recognition things all together, and we'll provide connections. That connection can come from wireless connectivity. We'll provide wireless connectivity from all things, not only for the mobile networks, but also from everywhere, every small thing with our sensors and with our networks. And further, not only the sensors and this connectivity, but also the intelligent processing, intelligent computing. We have servers. We'll give it for these applications so that all the data processing, knowledge extraction, all the intelligence can be combined so that these sensors, connections, intelligence can be combined for these diverse industries to create this value-creating solutions like connected car, smart build, smart shopping, smart healthcare, smart learning. All these, I think there are ample opportunity for Korea with this advanced infrastructure. How we can do it? One thing we need to recognize is that ICT industry is very different from other industries. Let's see this industry. This horizontal axis is market uncertainty. This side means market is uncertain. This side means market is certain. And then there are technology uncertainty. This means technology is certain, which means we have technology or we can just improve the technology. Or this side, this means here, this means technology is uncertain. We don't have the technology yet. We need to create the technology. Let's say this industry, the market is there, technology is not available. In that case, we need to develop technology. contrary to what people think, like alternative energy, the renewable energies are in this area. The market is there. And a market for energy, renewable energy is there, but we don't have the technology to create the energy at the low cost. So they invest on technology. I think that's the current government is doing, the green growth thing. Market is there. So it's very simple. People knows market is there. People concentrate on technology. So it's very, it's difficult game, but very clear objective, and people are working on creating the technology thing. What I'm maintaining is that ICT industry is different. In ICT industry, we have technology, but market is very unclear, uncertain. So for the uncertain market, we use technology to create a product. Now it's a very different case. Why ICT industry is very different like this? I mean, ICT industry has these green areas. So a lot of things is in ICT industry is the uncertain market with available technology, and this side is improving with the known market improving. For example, creating another handset, thinner handset, bigger handset. Its technology is there, market is there. We just improve them. But main big things are happening on this side, uncertain market. Let's see, if we review ICT industry, as you know very well, the semiconductor is still improving very fast. We have the Hwang's law, the Korean law, the Samsung's law, like every 2 years capacity increase by 2 times kind of thing. So the semiconductor is increasing very fast, still continues. With that rapid increase of semiconductor technology, all the other technologies are progressing together, like location technology, the satellite technology, etc., displays. They are improving together, so that with this abundant technology in ICT industry, we are creating products and services with this abundant technology for the uncertain market and uncertain customer needs. That's what's happening as I see it, in this ICT industry. It's not the technology, it's the uncertainty of the market, how to handle that uncertainty of the market. So we need to have a strategy to cope with this uncertain market and customer needs. I think that's why you hear so many times about customers, human needs, etc. They all talk about it. It's fundamentally because in ICT, technology is improving very fast, and we are creating. We are not just developing a product for the known market. We are also creating a market that's quite difficult game. Then, is Korea good for this? I think that's one of the questions we have. We are pretty good at improving the products for the known market with known technology. But creating market, I think we have not been very good at this. And like Apple, like iPod, I think they create some market. How to play this game? How to create a market game? That's the game we need to do. For this, there are many things we can handle this job. But as a telco, as SK Telecom, we'll provide one of the solutions that can help create the market with Korean technologies. This is what we are trying to do. This is two-sided platform. We'll provide our platform to our customers and to our developers so that they can create software applications for diverse market very easily at low cost and in a short time. So basically, we allow people to create products and introduce to the market and get customer feedback and have the chance to improve the product in short time. I think that game, Crunch can do very well. And SK Telecom, and we will provide this platform so that these kind of things can be developed pretty fast. We become the platform. Instead of doing everything, we, SK Telecom, try to figure out what customer needs are, and it's same for other software application developers too. It's impossible. People always emphasize finding customer needs, human needs, etc. But inherent job in the ICT industry is that we do not know the customer needs. So what we need is a mechanism to try our product on the market and get the feedback and continually improve such that we can finally come in with a winning product. And this telco platform will help Korean industry do this very fast. Now these, our resources, telecom resources, SK Telecom resources for creating applications will be provided as open platform, but not only for the software developers, but also all kinds of third parties, like government, media, ASPs, and all others will provide. And the customer, we have millions of customers, and not only for that, we have many segments. We said we'll use our infrastructure for diverse industries, and that will create thousands of segments. For that, with our infrastructure, we can introduce product. So what you're telling is we'll facilitate software development for a specialized and diverse market and provide efficient software development tool, and this will allow provide a direct feedback from the customers. People talk about iPhone all the time. Nowadays, they talk about the iPod, but not many people have seen the first iPod. Now, what we are seeing from Apple, the iPod is, I think it's third or fourth version. The first version doesn't have the wheel. It's not as beautiful. They introduced and they failed, and they redesigned it, and then they introduced and it's not successful, and again they introduced with the wheel and a better software. I think that before Apple introduced iPod, they failed several times on tablet PCs and Palm Pilot, etc., etc. So what we need is that if we given this mechanism of introducing a product, getting feedback fast, then I think the Koreans can do a market creation as well as anyone else. So this is what SKT can do for Korean software industry. In smartphone case, the handset, the smartphone has been open, so that many applications can be built on top of this handphone without the manufacturers or the operators only. Now anyone can participate. We'll expand this as this. Like this one shows not only smartphones, but also our infrastructure provided as a platform for not only for this consumer-oriented, fun-oriented application, but also all these diverse industries, so that we can create really big applications and for this uncertain market. I think that with this infrastructure, I think SK Telecom can provide Korea another opportunity to grow. Thank you.